Welcome to the Lion Nation Podcast. Now to your host, Chuck Tracy.
I want to welcome everybody to tonight's podcast here at Brooklyn Heights. Let's get a big round of applause for Brooklyn Heights for hosting us. I also want to give a shout out to our other sponsors, Bush's Chicken, Wingstop, Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, Farmers Insurance, the McCoy Agency, James Henderson with American Pacific Mortgage, Amy Maddox with Allstate, Stephanie Biggs with Blue Door Realty Group, Mighty Fine Burgers, Fries, and Shakes, Earl and Janice Lott, Randy Hoff of Lexus of Austin, Dana Kerr Photography, Milo Aquatics Pool Service, and Big Swig Water. Thanks all you sponsors. Let's get a round of applause for those guys as well. They make it a little bit easier, and if you can do business with those businesses, then please do. Well, Coach, welcome. We're here, senior night. Or not senior night, senior week, I guess.
Yes, sir. It's always senior week. So.
Senior week.
Let's continue.
We're playing Westwood at home.
Mm-hmm.
Always an emotional night, senior night.
I like senior night. They spent the last 4 years just kind of really, every day. And I always kind of like it when parents show up and watch practice because it lets them see what they've done in the spring and the fall and how hard they work. And they're coming in after school and they still have schoolwork and stuff like that. And it's hard. It's really hard what they do, and they don't complain. They love football. They love their teammates and love their coaches, and that's what they do.
And a lot of them have jobs and family responsibilities as well. So
yeah, and it's 4 years of it. I mean, it's really, and that we ask them to fundraise, and we ask them to show the other players. We ask them to mentor young kids, and we ask them to go to the elementary schools, and they do it all.
Make them come out to the podcast.
Right. We make them and spend their own money.
Right.
So how do you approach this week knowing that a lot of these kids started at Pee Wee football, and this may be the last time that they put on pads, the next couple of games. So how do you approach, this is your last home game. What do you tell these guys?
Well, they're very aware of that. And, we talk about that before the season starts, and how fast it goes. And, it doesn't matter how much I tell them or anything like that. And, they always come up to me about halfway through and they go, Coach, you were right. It goes by fast. And it really does. And, some of them, you're right, some of them will never put pads on after, a week from this Friday. We'll never do it again. And some of them will, and they'll get the opportunity, but it's still not going to be the same as playing with their high school. Some of those guys, like you were saying, they've been playing since Pee Wee,
right.
Playing with each other, playing with the same teams for, 10 years. Then they go to college, and they might play with those guys for, 4.5 years. It's just not the same.
It's not. And, a lot of these kids have grown up not only playing together, but they've been going to school together since kindergarten in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about Westwood.
Westwood, last week they played. That was the best game I've seen them play. They played Vandergrift, and, Vandergrift is pretty efficient on offense, but I thought they did a real good job. Westwood's defense did a real good job against them. And they end up scoring, 20-some points against Vandergrift's defense. A couple short fields, they got some turnovers, but they did pretty good. That was probably the best game they played. Historically they've thrown the ball a lot, and they do a real good job on offense. Anthony Wood does a real good job on offense, and he's a pretty good play caller. They have some injuries. They lost a couple of receivers, but I talk to Anthony every week, and he always asks how our offense is doing. And he knows, what we do. It's gonna be a pretty good game.
Yeah.
So I think that we're all kind of looking forward to it, and it's going to be a good game. And I think our kids will be more physical than theirs, and I think it's going to be a real good game for us.
Well, and one of the things I've noticed over the last couple of weeks, we've seen some kids playing a little bit of both ways. We saw Ishmael Sanchez play some defensive back a couple of weeks back, and then Riley got to put on 33 and carry the football a little bit.
We're just real thin, and both sides of the ball kind of need help, and it's not over by any means. We're going to have more kids that play more. In that last week, it might be, you might see Rashad back there backpedaling over there, but I don't think he'll tackle anybody, but he might scare him a little bit. But it's not done as far as that goes. We're continuing looking at that, and Xavier Terry's come over and helped an offense.
That's right.
And it's kind of easier to come over to offense. It's kind of harder to go over to defense sometimes because it's just a pounding and where to line up, and the offense kind of dictates where you're going to line up a lot of times.
Yeah, but there's some complication to the offense as
well.
Yes,
there is, and so like Lou came over today, and we put him in a position kind of like we did Terry early, just in a position where he's going to be successful, and that's not easy. You're right by any means, but the hardest part of when they cross over is fullback and quarterback. That's the hardest part, and then the perimeter blocking. And Lou's a pretty big dude. We kind of like that bigger physical body out there,
Sure.
so I think that's going to help on the perimeter too.
I agree. Mm-hmm. Okay, so tonight we're going to interview both coordinators,
Sure.
correct?
Yeah, they're both here, and then Riley volunteered again. Those seniors are scared over there.
Yeah.
They don't want to talk in there.
Not all of them. The ones that have been up here are all willing to come back, and so maybe we'll bring Riley up for an interview after we talk to the two coordinators.
Oh, sure.
And then maybe we'll have trivia between the coordinators.
Yes. That sounds like a good plan right there. That sounds like a good plan.
Okay, we'll start off with who we got?
Okay, Coach Thompson and Coach Ramsey
where's
right
Thompson?
there. Right here.
Oh, okay, he's behind the camera. I can't see him. Yeah, careful there.
Welcome.
We have zero insurance.
Hey,
How are
you
you?
guys doing?
Welcome.
Good.
Well, Coach, it's been almost a full season in the
has.
offense. We talked early on about a little bit of the learning curve in a prior interview earlier this season. Kind of rehash where you're at now at this point in the season with the offense. I feel like you've started, or the team has started opening it up a lot more over the last few weeks.
Right, yeah. I think we're still, growing into some stuff, but we've also found some things that are staples and that we can go back and lean on. And this is our go-to plays, and we're going to run these, 10 to 15 times a game, and then still have the wrinkles as well.
Well, and we just talked to Coach Smith a little bit about guys playing both ways. How do you like getting a couple of those defensive guys on the offensive side of the
ball? It's nice. We're trying to get, a little more speed out on the perimeter with some of the faster guys on defense. Terry's a pretty fast guy, so it's nice to be able to pitch it out there. And, once you get the edge, make a defense pay and take it, 50 yards. So.
What's the biggest adjustment that they have to make when they move over to offense?
Learning the plays, it's a very disciplined thing, and everybody does their job, and one guy doesn't, block this way, down. And then, what did you teach them? What plays can you call? You get out there and you get a certain defense, and you want to call this, but he only knows a couple plays, so it goes into substituting and managing the game a little bit more.
Excellent. Now. With the offense and the possibility of moving guys around, you have injuries and things happen academically or whatever.
Sure.
And you kind of have to draw from different places. We got to see a young quarterback play on Friday and showed that he could throw the ball downfield pretty well.
Yeah, Landry's got a good arm. Yeah, and we came up with a little play for him to go out there and use Rashad as. A little
decoy,
bait out there, a little decoy, and he made a nice ball, and Ish made a nice catch.
Yeah, that was nice, and he carried the ball pretty well later on.
He did. He was kind of hurt at the beginning of the season, and that's why you haven't seen much of him.
Right.
And then, he played a game JV, and I thought he did pretty well in that too, and ran the ball well, and Landry's a good player.
Well, and it bodes well for the future.
Sure.
Is where I was going with that. And you've seen a lot of youth on the field this season, offensively, but really heavily defensively.
Right.
But talk about developing those younger guys and getting them up to speed to compete at a level of 6A high school football. That's difficult.
Absolutely. So even some of the older guys, they're learning a new thing too, and it's only going to get better when you get the young guys in the system. And it's been nice that we've had guys come up and get playing experience and get that Friday night feel, and so it's been good for us.
Well, and we've had a lot of weather issues of late, and of course everybody deals with that. But in my opinion, it kind of affects our offense some ways positively and some ways negatively. Talk about those aspects, because it's going to rain this week too.
Right. So last week, we got out there early and it was cold, and we fought through it, and we had them hitting the sled at 6:30 in the morning, just like it was a normal day. Keeping the ball, dry is a little bit of a challenge, but we're still going to go out there and run our plays and handle the ball. So we practice in it, and we like to think we can go out and execute in any type of weather.
Do y'all have somebody in charge of keeping the balls dry?
Yeah. So we'll have who's ever the ball boy that game. And we'll have
generally an 8th grader or something.
Or Coach Beef's son usually does it for us. So and so we'll have him, and he'll have towels and make sure it's clean for the start of the series, and center can help out a little bit and cover the ball, and so we have some tricks and keep the ball nice and dry.
Now, being mostly offense, and I know you still, when you're done coaching on the side, you look out on the field and you pay attention to the defense a little bit. Do you have any competition between offense and defense? Is it friendly competition?
Oh yeah. We're always trying to get better. We cross over quite a bit in practice, and so we have those periods where we're getting after it and getting good looks and servicing each other, and so the defense makes us a lot better. So we enjoy
Are y'all keeping score, or is it just a mental score?
I think that's more of a spring thing. The competition really heats up in spring with the guys, and it's a little more competitive then.
Because when you start switching guys in the season, those defensive guys, though they may play pretty well on offense on Friday, they may still have a little bit of commitment to the defensive side.
Sure.
Or vice versa.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, are you ready for some trivia after we interview Coach Ramsey?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Let's get Coach Ramsey up here then.
All
Thank
right.
you, Coach Thompson.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. Hey, Coach.
How are you?
How are y'all?
Yeah,
Good.
Careful there.
Yeah. Legs ain't that long, man. I can make it.
We were all running late. I didn't get the gaff tape out and tape the wires down. So.
What's going on, guys?
Not much. So I'm going
My head ain't
to generally just jump right in and ask you the same question I asked Coach Thompson, because we interviewed you earlier in the season. Mm-hmm. It's a little different because he was switching offenses, but you were coming to a new school, so you have a different experience. You're most of the way through your first season as defensive coordinator here at Leander. Talk about your experience to this point, and some of the positive things you've seen throughout the season, and then we'll focus on your seniors after that.
All right. Yeah, there's been a lot of positives. To see kind of as much as we threw at them early, which we discussed on the first podcast, was throwing as much at them as possible as fast, and seeing kind of how that's transitioned to game and fighting the adversity that they've shown. I mean, you talk about kids who ain't had an easy run by any means each week, and they show up Monday and yell, put the ball down, and chase themselves out on the field every day, every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Good.
They come out with a lot of sauce, a lot. That's a little term that they coin.
I like to hear that.
Well.
Beasley uses that one for the Cowboys.
Is that right?
Yeah.
They
Too
stole
much
it from
sauce
somebody
is what
else?
he
I didn't know that. Thought we had something original going.
Well, it's kind of original. Depends on how you use it, I guess. Well, let's talk about your seniors. This is your first senior class as a coordinator, unless you weren't a coordinator before, right?
No, sir.
All right, that's what I thought. Talk about those guys, how they've contributed throughout the season in their leadership roles, et cetera.
Yeah, very well. I mean, it's been a lot of fun to watch. Them dudes kind of own the fact that they are seniors and it is their team. And that's a little interesting dynamic we talk about a lot in our meetings, is that this exact group of men will never exist again. It's never existed before.
Right.
I think they've kind of recognized that whether they want to be or not, the other kids are looking at them. And so that really, I don't know what the word is, but it compounds how much focus they have to have, how much
puts
intensity
pressure
they
on
have
you.
to have. And and as soon as one of them dudes ain't doing their job, then the other kids will follow suit. I think they've done a really, really good job of setting the standard, holding each other accountable, and things of that nature throughout practice and then on Fridays as well.
And that's the one thing we've noticed, calling the games, watching the games. you don't see a lack of effort out there by any of the players on offense or defense. And that's something to be proud of. You may be down by a couple scores, game may be a minute or two from being over, but they're still out there playing, and they're playing hard.
Yeah, I think that's a huge credit to the seniors because they won't let it happen. You know, I can get mad all I want, which happens, but at the end of the day, they're the dudes on the sideline, and I can hear them every time I walk away. I mean, it's like we are still fighting. I don't care what the score is; it doesn't matter. We're going back out, and we're going to go do our job.
Well, and
that's heavily
calling
led
the
by
games,
the seniors.
you can tell that the referee crews aren't accustomed to that. When there is towards the end of the game, if the score is out of reach, you know, they expect teams to just take it half speed, and you see them kind of. Our guys are still going hard, so it kind of takes them back, and they've got to get in there and separate them sometimes.
A little,
stuff.
yeah.
So,
but they're gonna. I mean, and that's them. That's a huge credit to those seniors.
No, I agree.
That they have laid the foundation of effort. Number one right now.
What are you most proud of? Season's about over. Thinking over this past, games home and away, what are you most proud of?
Just kind of what I said at the start, the way that they have fought through the adversity they've seen, and that's both on the field on Friday night, coming in on Saturday, lifting, watching the film, taking the criticism, trying to fix it on Monday, and continuing to follow the process and not really lose sight of what they are trying to build, what we are trying to build as a team, especially those seniors as a defense. It's been very, very motivating to watch them kind of grow into the leaders that not all of them were at the very beginning of the season. A lot of them come to mind, but definitely Michael Potter being.
Well, I was going to mention the D lineman because I have a D lineman son, and he'll talk about the seniors and how much he's going to miss those guys as teammates because of their leadership and the way that they've focused on bringing up younger players, including himself and say Major Baden or Sam or some of those guys. So.
Yep, and really cool thing about our defense right now is we have a senior leader in every position group. So there's someone in the linebacker, someone in the secondary, someone in the line.
Right.
And not all of them may get every single rep or every single big hit or every single whatever you want to call it, but they are, in my mind, and I think the players' minds as well, very much the leaders of those positions. Regardless of whether they're the most
just by
productive
default,
or vocal.
they should be, and they should embrace that because one of your jobs besides developing them as football players is to develop them as young men and leaders in the community, fathers, husbands, and all of that stuff. And those kinds of experiences work towards creating better humans.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's almost word for word how you said it from our defensive philosophy is that we are trying to build men first.
Right.
And athletes second. That part will come with it.
Right.
But you got to have a foundation, I think, as far as the leadership goes.
Well, now this is a smallish senior class, especially for a 6A school. Even here at Leander, it's smallish, but they're a tight-knit group. We're going to talk to one of them here who spent most of his time on offense this season. I don't think he's gotten in on defense yet.
No,
you might steal him for a couple of plays, but we're going to talk to Riley Wells, and then I'm going to bring you back up here with Coach Thompson. You're going to compete against one another in trivia.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Feats of strength. Careful. I know,
be careful.
I know you took some shots on Friday or Thursday. Now, Riley, we've interviewed you before, and everybody knows you. Yeah, PA on sub-varsity games at the stadium, leader on the team. Complained not even a little bit when you were moved from defense to offensive line, from fullback to offensive line. But you got an opportunity to get the ball in your hand this past week. And other than trying to do your best Eric Dickerson imitation and running straight up, you did pretty well.
Thank you.
Talk about how much fun you were having out there.
Well, it's been a little bit since I've got to carry the ball.
You pull that mic a little bit closer to you. Just twist it.
There you go. There you go.
Okay, so yeah, it's been a little bit since I got to run the ball because I got hurt during spring ball, so I missed most of it. And first day of practice, I got called in and was told I was playing O-line. And so really whenever I practiced fullback during the week leading up to the game, but it was just different whenever when I'm coming out after the second drive and Coach Smith tells me hey, go ahead and change to number 33. And that's when everything, like, in my head, I was like, oh, like, I'm about to run the ball. And so, I mean, first play, it was just, I just went out and blocked. But it's something about being in that position and the way you run the blocks. You have time to get up, and you have to break down before you block because the people that you're blocking, they're not right in front of you.
Right.
Like on guard.
There's odd angles.
Exactly. But later on that drive, I think I ran the ball 3 plays in a row, and I looked at Rashad, and I was like, whoop. And he goes, oh, yeah, you're going to get your carries tonight. And but, I mean, I had a blast. It was so much fun just to finally be able to put what I've been wanting to do in practice, finally, like, being able to put that into a game and just being able to just run the ball and do what I can for the team.
Yeah, you had a lot of strong runs, a lot of big hits. Did you get winded out there?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Most definitely. Yeah, after the first drive, got up, and it took like 4 people to pick me up. And I got back to the bench, and I'm just trying to sit down. And I can't because everybody's high-fiving me and stuff like this. But I was like, I got to sit down. Or else I was just going to sit down on the turf right there because I was winded for sure.
Yeah, that was it was pretty awesome to watch because the first big run you had where you broke into the secondary, you were running upright, like I said, and the safety came downhill pretty hard and laid a good shot on you.
He
but you didn't even go backwards. It was like your momentum stopped and you kind of went sideways, and then at the point that you started going forward again, there were 3 or 4 guys on your back.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like being how heavy I am. I got hit, and I didn't even realize I got rocked until I hit the ground.
Right.
And that's when I was like, oh, that was a big hit right there.
Well, see, you didn't knock you down initially. You just staggered you a little bit, and then some other guys piled on.
Yeah.
But, yeah, he came downhill a couple of times. And I was like, Riley needs to get behind those pads.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I thought I was about to be in the end zone and just got knocked. Just rocked straight sideways on the 7-yard line. Yeah. I was so close, and I was pretty mad.
Well, this week you'll know. Lower that shoulder when you see that guy coming.
That's very true, very true.
So you think you might get in on a little defense this week?
I don't know. I haven't practiced it at all, but I mean, I haven't practiced it all this season. But, I mean, if Coach needs me out there, then I'm going to do what needs to be done.
Well, the reason I ask is and we were talking about it a little bit earlier with the coaches, is you're looking at 2 more football games probably for the rest of, unless you do some nutty thing like where you come back and play with a bunch of people, which happens. It's still not going to be the same.
Right.
So, yeah, work them. I want to play a little defense.
I'm excited.
We'll see how gassed you are too, though. You might be a little bit too tired.
You never know. But I'm excited for the next 2 games. But at the same time, I'm not ready for it to end.
Yeah, you never are.
Yeah, I'm in love with the whole process. Nobody likes waking up early, but if it means I get to play football for another day,
right?
Then I'm gonna get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30, whatever time I need to get up, and I'm gonna play football because that's what I want to do.
You need about 40 kids with the same attitude.
Definitely.
Every year.
Definitely.
All right. Well, Riley, thanks for braving another podcast.
Thank you.
You've had a great season. Good job.
Thank you.
We'll bring up
the
Coach
coaches?
Thompson and Coach Ramsey, and we'll get some friendly offensive versus defensive competition in trivia. Way to go, Riley. Everybody give Riley a hand. Somebody's got to squeeze in here. All right, we'll go with the multiple choice version of trivia. That way.
Appreciate you.
All right. Wait on Coach Ramsey here. So usually somebody's got to go first. Do we normally, when we win the toss, what is our normal course of action?
All right, we're going once and we're going on shoot, brother.
All right.
Let's not shoot.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. I bailed first.
Coach,
All right.
Coach Ramsey goes first. We'll go first 1 to 7.
There you go.
7 it is.
It's just general trivia.
Oh, boy.
General.
Where is the smallest bone in your body located?
In
is
your
it?
ear.
Well, that's correct.
There you
Next.
go.
1-0.
Don't even need multiple choice.
Okay, so we'll go to Coach Thompson next. Which organ filters out foreign material, eliminates worn-out blood cells, and produces white blood cells? Is
we
it
go
the
multiple choice?
Yes. Is it the A, spleen, B, kidney, or C, spinal cord?
Well, I'd say the kidney.
The spleen.
It is the spleen. 2-0.
That's what a spleen does.
Coach.
Yeah, I didn't think it was the spinal cord, so.
Yeah, I think that was just
Made that one, yeah.
Okay, Coach Ramsey. What percentage of total oxygen consumed by the body is used by the human brain? Do you want the? Okay.
I'm gonna wait.
A is 20%, B is 40%, or C 60%.
40.
How, can you say it again?
A is 20 and C is 60.
How much oxygen the
How
brain
much
uses?
What percentage of total oxygen consumed by the body is used by the human brain?
60 seems like a lot. I'll go with 60. Yeah.
So no points.
That's a
2-0. You're
That's
up,
a lot.
Coach.
Okay, thought that one came back.
Oh, no. We're only
Not when
going to
there's
do
one
the
left,
one.
all right.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
don't get
That
it by
makes sense.
default. You have to get it right.
So,
Okay.
so is it your question?
Yes, it's my
Yes,
question.
your question. Okay. Which part of the human brain is 90% of the nerve cells? Which part of the human brain are 90% of the nerve cells located? A, the basal ganglia, B, the cerebellum, or C, the cerebral cortex?
The cortex sounds like a central place. So C.
Yeah, that's correct.
All right.
Look at you.
2-1. These are Gary's trivia
I thought
questions.
that was going to be
Hey.
an ode to the water boy. You got a medulla oblongata in there, but
Okay. Back to you, Coach Ramsey. Which is the strongest bone in your body? The hip bone, the thigh bone, or the shoulder blade?
the thigh bone.
It is correct. It's 3-1. Coach Thompson's up. Which cartilage do soccer players most often damage? Their nose cartilage, rib cartilage, or knee cartilage?
The nose would be a header, and that's what I'm going to say it.
The knee.
It is the knee. So,
Yeah, it
so
makes
is
more
that, you got
sense.
5 now, right?
I thought it was- I thought it was
5-2
trying
or
to trick me.
5-1?
I think it's 4-1. Or is it
4-1?
5-1?
4-1 works.
We'll go
4-1.
4-1. We'll go back and look at the tape later.
All right.
Which is the whose turn is it? It's Coach Ramsey. Okay. Which is the average number of sweat glands in an adult human body? Is it 200,000, 2 million, or 20 million sweat glands?
2 million.
2 million is correct.
Unbelievable.
5-1.
It's very specific for general trivia.
Yes,
Well, like I said, these are Gary's questions. I had to steal them from him.
it's not very general at all. It's kind of a
Very
fun field,
specific
too.
to body, to biology. Okay, which organ in the body can regenerate itself? Is it the liver, the stomach, or the lungs?
The stomach? I don't know. Yeah. Lungs.
That's incorrect.
The liver.
It is the liver. 6-1. Defense, offense. Y'all need to support your guy over here. He's struggling.
It's about time for a couple Hail Marys. So.
Coach Ramsey, how much time does a human blood cell take to complete a circuit of the human body? Is it 30 seconds, a minute, or 2 hours?
30 seconds.
What's the other choices?
A minute or 2 hours?
I'm going to go a minute.
It is a minute. So 6-2. Back to Coach Thompson. He's going to rally.
Yeah.
How much hair loss per day is normal? 50 to 100 hairs? 250 to 300 hairs? Or 1,000 to 1,500 hairs?
I'll go middle of the road, whatever choice B.
Choice A.
It is correct. Choice A, and that is the game.
All right.
Coach Ramsey wins. Let me give you a prize, Coach.
Nice.
I don't have a good history with headsets right now, so.
Oh, that's all right. Do you want a shirt, some socks? We got some shorts, or wristbands, or license plate
Oh,
holders.
license plate.
There you go, the plate cover.
There you go.
There we go.
And we'll give you one, too, for participating.
Nice. I like my participation ribbon.
There you go.
Well, that's it. Thank you, coaches. Thank you guys for coming out to the podcast tonight. Come out. The game is Friday. It is senior night, so make sure you are there. The freshmen play on Thursday at Bible, correct? Is that Bible? Yes, and the JV away. So make sure you go out and support those teams. Thank you for listening to the podcast. We'll see you next time.